Now we can hear you.
What's up, Matt?
All right, guys, we're getting ready to start the show. Just give us a few minutes. We'll be right with you.
You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Mick, Alex, I Yield to No One,
Steve.
Trophy Wars, this is episode 559. I'm your host, Tricky Rick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, and the legend. It's Alex.
I gotta say, the Dead Space remake is what every remake should aspire to be.
He brings the awesome. It's I Yield to No One.
I have been neglect in giving Gareth a huge shout out the last 2 weeks for one, putting together the rarity competition, but two, that his weekly updates, not only the audio ones, but the typed ones on Facebook. Pure gold, sir.
Yes, he puts a lot of work into it. So much work that we don't know if we're going to be able to fit it into the live record or the live Twitch show. We'll figure that out as we go. But Gareth, you've been doing a phenomenal job. Alex,
I feel like we've seen more of his character come out. Like, not that, Gareth hasn't, been open with all of us before, but, kind of the jokes he's throwing out and the burns he's throwing out, for people who are kind of lagging behind. You're seeing more of Gareth come out, which is nice.
All right, so if you're here, and I see that Matt G and Skins are both in the chat, thank you very much. The Stupid Bowl is going on. I do have it off to my left. I'm
sorry.
Just for the live show reasons, I'm going to give updates in case you are watching this and really. But I figure if you're interested in the Super Bowl, you'll probably be watching and not us. But if you are here and you are interested in the Super Bowl, I'll give you updates. Currently, right now, there's 3 minutes left in the first quarter, and it's 7-7. I mostly watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. What about you guys?
I used to, but the commercials aren't as good as they used to be. Those died off probably like 5-10 years ago. I mean, you might have one really good one, but anymore, you'll see stuff on the internet. Hey, here's the commercials. Okay, and you just scroll through the ad. Oh, I'll watch this one. Oh, I'll watch that one.
Yeah, I don't even watch Super Bowl anymore. I mean, we don't have cable. I'm sure I could watch it some way, but even the commercials anymore, I don't watch because, back in the 90s, like, you had the commercial. One of my favorites that I can remember is the dinosaur. Like, there's someone eating McDonald's French fries at a museum, and I think it's late at night, and all of a sudden this T-Rex skeleton comes to life, and it starts, like, acting like a dog because it wants this person to give it the night guard. Wants the night guard to give it a fry, so it starts acting like a puppy and like, oh, give me that French fry. Back then we didn't have YouTube, so you had to watch to see all the commercials, or I guess certain news channels would kind of put together a compilation. Now you just wait for YouTube, and it's got all the best ones, and you don't have to sit through the entire Super Bowl. Although, it's not just about the commercials; it is a social event. So friends get together, people get together, eating food. So it is a social gathering, but. We stayed home all day, and I did stuff around the house while Ashley played Hogwarts Legacy, so we were not into that at all.
All right. Both of you guys know what happened to me this week. Do you mind if I vent a little bit here? Or we can leave it off the show. I mean, I didn't ask you guys before the show, and I should have.
I mean, you can.
Yeah, if you want. I don't care.
All right. So, if you're listening to this, you probably know last week's show was a little late. There was a combination of things. One, I was really, really sick. And two, there was something that happened at my daughter's school that really took my focus away. I'm not going to go into too much details, and I really don't want to have a debate about this or a conversation about this, but I just want to let you guys know that something seriously happened, and that's why the show was late. And I want to vent a little bit, but like I said, I don't want to get too much into it. But let's just say that, society's really gone downhill, and it's not something I wish anybody to go through. And I'm going to leave it at that. But if you guys know, you know. All right. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, because I thought I was going to get angry. All right. Let's do as we do every week and give you your updated trophy count. I am level 831, total trophies of 25,140, 672 platinums. I don't know if that's true because I didn't update, and you can't update. So,
well, no, I've finally upgraded my phone. So according to the PSN, that is where you're at. I did not use PSN profiles. So,
well, that's good. And just yes, that's actually 100% accurate. So good.
See, I told you.
No, I believe you. No, I believe you,
okay.
but
as long as your system was updated, that's the correct according to PSN.
There might be some trophies on my work PS4, but I don't know. That's still in my truck.
Yeah, to be fair, if there is any discrepancy, it tends to be because you don't sync all your trophies.
Yeah, I've been doing better about bringing the work PS4 in after I'm done. But if I know like I'm going back to work and I'm gonna be able to play, I just leave it in my truck.
See, I don't know. See, maybe I'm just paranoid, but I don't see how you let trophies just sit on the console itself locally. Because as soon as I get one, I gotta go sync it so I don't lose that trophy, just in case something happens in my console.
Yeah, but that's because you have one console. I have 4 of them. So if something happens to that console, I can quickly just make it up.
Oh, you braggadocious SOB.
I'm just being real with you. Alex, your trophy, sir.
So I am a level 471 with a total trophy count of 8,479 and a platinum count of 138 in 137 games. My new platinum, unlike Tricky's, is an ultra rare, not all the, to steal a line from Gareth, the ultra commons that Tricky's been earning this year. I got the platinum trophy in Axiom Verge 2.
Congratulations, sir.
Difficult game?
No, not at all. And especially since there is a trophy for dying only once, and heads up, you die automatically because of a story thing, so that's your one death. So you can't die at all through one run, but they have accessibility settings where you can turn down the enemy damage to 0 to where you essentially are invincible. So it is not a hard one. The only thing that might catch some people up is there is a speed run, but it's a 6-hour speed run. So my first gameplay playthrough was just over 22 hours because 100% of the game, you got to find all the items for a trophy. You got, so that, and you got to open up all areas of the map. So that took some time. But, the speed runs, I mean, people do it in a half an hour. So you really have to know the map because once you get into the speed run setting, it no longer gives you like icons on the map to tell you where to go. You have to know where to go. But 6 hours is pretty generous. But, a lot of people don't really like deal speed runs. I personally don't either. But because this game has so many rare to ultra rare trophies, I'm like, you know what? This would really help me in the competition. So, and it's free. So I'm going to use it. So.
Well, if a 6 hour and people are doing it in a half hour, then if they got that much of a generous leeway, I don't mind speedrun trophies. It's the one where it's like you can't make a mistake and you got to start over. Those are the ones that are really annoying.
No, this is not that, but you definitely have to, like I said, you have to know exactly where you're going because it doesn't give you any cues on where to go in the speed run. And also the clock keeps ticking even in pause menus, even on the speed run menu. So unless you're back at the main menu or have the game exited out, which, you can get to a certain point in the speed run, save it, and then, turn off the game and come back to it later. It doesn't make you do it all in one run. But the clock does keep ticking. So if you don't know where you're going, pausing the game doesn't stop the time from running. So
what about cutscenes?
So in speedrun mode, there's a speedrun mode is a separate mode from the main game, and that basically takes all the dialogue out. So it basically cuts down the game. Cutscenes, anything like that, are cut down. So you just are basically just pure speedrunning through the game.
Can you do the speedrun on the main game too, or is that no?
I'm not exactly sure. There is a trophy you have to do in a speedrun mode. So you might as well just do the speed run under 6 hours on speedrun mode because you have to do speedrun mode anyway.
Oh, okay.
So you get the speedrun mode trophy for doing it in 10 hours or more. You just have to play the speed run mode. So you've got to do both anyway. So just knock them out. I would say play the main game and get all 100%, and then on your second playthrough do speed run and then get under
6.
Yeah.
Can you okay? So after you beat the game, can you go back and get the collectibles, or you have to get them as you go through the game?
So I got all of the collectibles before I went to do the final boss area, so I'm not entirely sure. I can look that up, but just in case, I went ahead and unlocked everything before I went to fight the final boss.
Gotcha. All right.
So, although I will say, now that you say that, I think that you can go back after you beat the final boss because when I go to my save file on the game, it says 100% items, 99% map. So in that save file, although I got the trophy for 100% map, because you go to the final boss's room and that's the 100% of the map, it's at 99%. So the game has got me to save point before I get to the main boss's room. So yeah, I think you can go back.
It kicks you back before the boss.
Yes, and I did mention before that in that game, like with Metroidvania games, it's like hard for me to remember where to go back to. But on the map, you can place markers. If there's a particular collectible that you can't get and have to come back to, you can place little yellow dots to remind yourself to come back to this quadrant. So,
ooh, that's nice.
All right, yes. Yield your trophy, sir.
Currently sitting at 80% of level 487. trophy count of 9150, and a platinum count of 163.
And Sid is level 446, total trophies 5,709 with 157 platinums. All right, so let's get into what we're playing. Yield, we'll start with you, sir.
So I spent this afternoon playing Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls with Prepare to Die or Scum, The Brain 76, and Homer Gets Stuffed. I've also been playing some Immortals, Phoenix Rising, Myths of the Eastern Realm DLC. Not as bad. I think I like a New God better so far. I played some Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag multiplayer with Tricky, Nitro, and JT.
Yeah, sorry I had to cut out that early.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, we actually did pretty good. You know, you guys were at 16 and we're at level 12 of 55, so I thought we were making some pretty decent headway.
Did you guys stop after I had to bounce?
No, because it started to load in, but then when it realized you were gone, it then kicked everybody out.
So you guys stopped at that point?
So we stopped at that point.
Gotcha.
I finished up the Watch Dogs DLC Bad Blood. I'm one trophy away from having it 100%ed, and that's where I need Tricky and I have to get on the same schedule because he's the only one that I know who has the Watch Dogs Bad Blood DLC. And I'd rather do it with somebody I know than a rando. I've been playing some World of Warship Legends, just working on my bureau. Some little bit of Farm Simulator 19, Deep Rock Galactic. I did some Rocket League with Nitro and Alex on Thursday. And I think that's it for the week.
So you have the Watch Dogs Platinum then?
I've had it.
Oh, then Yield, I got bad news for you.
You don't have the DLC. You don't have the Bad Blood DLC.
No, I thought you were talking about like a multiplayer trophy for the main game.
No, I got the Brain 76 to help me with that.
No, I don't have the DLC.
You don't have the Bad Blood DLC? Okay.
I'll buy it for you though.
Well, you don't have to. I can do it with a rando.
I'll buy it for you.
Okay.
Because now I feel bad because I thought you were talking about you needed a trophy for the platinum.
No. I already got that.
Then when you said DLC, I went, I don't know if I have the DLC. So I just quickly looked it up. But I'll buy it.
But yeah, part of my thing this year was one of my why am I drawing a blank?
Goals?
New Year's resolution goals this year was I own several, season passes for games. So I have the DLC, and I either played some of it, moved on, or haven't played any of it. And I was like, before Gareth announced the rarity contest, I'm like, I'm going to try to work on getting these DLC trophies that I own done. Just, I don't know, being the completionist in me, raise my PSN completion percent or PSN profile completion percentage, whatever. I just it was just something that I guess I honestly want to challenge myself, but just something I wanted to work on. So that's kind of what I've been doing this year, is working on DLC games along with working on my full games of backlogs and stuff that I need to do.
Gotcha. All right, before we go to you or Alex on what he's playing, I do have a little bit of a gripe that Alex brought to my attention. Not on you guys, but I bought you both, PSN cards essentially to get the PlayStation Premium.
Yes.
And then Alex went to redeem it, and it only lets him upgrade to Premium for the length of his PlayStation Plus subscription.
Yes.
It does not let you just get a year.
No.
So I had to I didn't have to. I offered to give Alex some more money so he can get the length of his subscription. But Yield, you have not told me if you needed more money or not.
Well, see, my PlayStation Plus goes a lot longer than Alex's, so I don't want you to give me that extra money to do that. So I was going to ask you what you wanted me to do with that money.
How much more is it going to cost?
Oh, I'm good for another 3 years, I think. 3 or 4 years.
All right.
I don't want you to. I don't want you to do that.
Well, I don't mind doing it. It just means you're not going to get a Christmas gift for the next 3 years.
I know you don't mind doing it, but I don't want you to do that.
Well, to be fair, Alex didn't want me to do it either.
Well, I know, but in all fairness, Alex edits the podcast, so I'm totally cool with that.
Well, and my subscription's good till July 2025, which was the hang up. It's not just a year, it's just over 2 years. So Tricky had to send me an extra 50 in order to make it work. Because look, Sony's just trying to lock people in. It's like you can't try it for a year. It's like they want to lock you in, but how many people does that turn it away? If someone's like, oh, well, I have Essential, but I don't want to upgrade to Premium because I have to essentially be in there for 2, 3, 4 years, because we all know that people who are subscribers to PlayStation Plus, or a lot of people that listen to our show, probably stock up on subscriptions when it goes on sale to save themselves some money over the long haul. Who knows?
I
realize
3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, I realize this is probably Sony's response to everybody stacking before they stop the stacking, saying, "Oh, you guys want to stack? Okay, now if you want to upgrade, this is how you're gonna have to upgrade."
But again, they might be screwing themselves out of customers.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah, because there might be somebody be like, you know what? I'll drop another 60 and try it for a year.
Right. But you'll just, when you get a chance, I know you don't want me to, but just go look to see how much it would cost.
All right, I'll look, but really, I don't want you to.
I know, but you know I will anyway. So
yeah, but still,
if it's not too expensive, expect another email. That's all I'm saying.
Because I got Plus this past Black Friday when it was on sale. I dropped another year or two on because I'm like, well, I forget what it was. It was 30, $20-$30 off.
Right.
I'm like, all right. So I got another year or two.
All right. Yeah, just whenever you get a chance, just look. Alex, what have you been playing, sir?
Well, got the platinum in Axiom Verge 2, played a little bit of Rocket League with Yield and with Nitro. Other than that's been Dead Space. I beat Dead Space on normal, so I finished the game, the normal campaign, and I'm now currently going back through on New Game Plus on my plasma cutter only run on story mode difficulty, because I beat it on normal. I'm gonna have to beat it on impossible in order to get the platinum, so I'm just gonna make it nice and easy the second run through on story. And the New Game Plus on Dead Space is fantastic. Everything carries over. So there's a side mission where you have to find, and that's a new addition to the game, is in the remake, is side missions, because you can kind of go back and forth, as you want through the ship. It's not so much like it's story directed when you go back to a certain place. You can go back at any time. So you have to go find the rigs, which are the attachments. Like on Isaac, you see the little green health bar on his back. That's a rig. It tells you how much life you have, how much air you have, all that kind of stuff. You got to go find clearance is an issue, so there's a master override code, and you have to craft it by going up and picking like 5 or 6 different rigs from some of the deceased crew members from the Ishimura. So that's a side mission, and that carries over. Now your access to like level 1, level 2, level 3 that you get through the story, that gets knocked down, but there are obviously certain special things you can get from the master override rooms that sticks with you through your playthrough. Your money, your nodes, all the weapon upgrades. Another nice thing they did, so New Game Plus is a ton of fun. I love it. It's the way New Game Plus, it's perfect for New Game Plus. Also, they made some changes to this game, and I talked about, this is a remake that every other remake should aspire to be. It's because they actually, Tricky put a topic on, I think it was the episode that we had Veronica on, the first episode that she was on, where, he wanted us to talk about an article that was talking about a remake shouldn't just be like a game with better graphics. It should be meaningful. And I chose not to talk about that article because, well, no duh. But the Dead Space remake and EA Motive, they seemed to take that to heart, and they looked at what Dead Space was, and they actually made it a much better game. Now, so this time around, the guns are a ton of fun to play with. Now, I'm my first playthrough of the game back in 2008, I kind of stuck with the plasma cutter and the line gun, but like the contact beam, the force gun, there's a lot of fun guns to play with. The flamethrower. Now, there's some also kind of ones that are less fun to play with, like the Ripper, but overall, the guns are a lot of fun to play with. In the original game, you had to buy the guns from the store. In the remake, you just find them for free on the ship. There's like some deceased crew member, and they were fighting with the flamethrower, and you just pick it up, and it's yours. So it's really nice that you have to earn a lot of credits to get all the upgrades and stuff for trophies. So it's nice that they gave you the guns for free without making a buy from the store. There's also a section of the original game where you sit in a chair and you take over some cannons on the outside of the Ishimura and you destroy asteroids, to keep from pelting the ship and destroying the ship. And they took that section out of the game completely because there were a lot of complaints about it. And what they did was there's now a section where you go out on the outside of the ship, and the ADS cannons are still there, but you go up to them and you kind of hack them, and you kind of have almost like a Bluetooth functionality to them where you can control, you're just doing your normal focusing with your guns, where you're aiming with your reticle coming up, but you also can use the cannon in that method. So it's almost kind of like wireless, where you then can control the cannon when you're close enough, and you just, instead of pressing the regular shoot button, you just press the X button to call down a shot from the cannon. So, they took out certain sections and improved the sections that they did put it instead. The side missions, they go into, there's 3 separate branching side missions, and one is for the Master Override Code, one is deeper into Nicole's story, who's Isaac's love interest, and the other one is, deeper into the story of why a certain necromorph came into being and what somebody on the ship did to, help further the creation of that necromorph. So the side missions give more backstory to the different characters. I'm trying to think of any other changes. They have these junction points, these fuse boxes now in the remake, where at certain points in the game, you have to restore the electricity and then choose. You only have a certain number of fuses, so you have to decide how to use the fuses. Do you keep the fuses in, say, the lights to power the lights? Do you keep the fuse in to power the oxygen to the room, and so you can breathe? And then, or do you, keep them in the elevator? So it's kind of like a puzzle aspect to it, but you have to, in some situations, you have to sacrifice the lights or the oxygen in the room to get a puzzle done to progress in the game. So you have to decide, hey, necromorphs are coming. Do I want to fight them in the dark? Or, hey, do I want to keep the lights on, but I'm running out of air and I have to do this in a very specific amount of time? It's not like a huge time crunch, but still, early on in the game, now on my second playthrough, I've got over 2 minutes worth of air. I can go, I'm fine. But early on in the game, you have maybe 60 seconds or less. So it actually is a choice. They make you decide, do you want to go faster, or do you want to be more scared as you're going through these corridors and necromorphs come out at you? So love the remake. Now I don't really have as much gripes about Isaac and his voice and everything. I'm fine with, I got over it. I'm fine with Isaac as he is. But it really seems like the changes they made to the remake were to make the game better. And so this feels like the definitive version of Dead Space, like the PS4 version of Shadow of the Colossus is the definitive version. And really what they wanted to do with The Last of Us Part 1 when they put that out last year, this feels like the best version of the game you can play. And it's phenomenal. I love Dead Space. So I'm going through on my New Game Plus run, and then eventually I will get to my Impossible run, although I think I want to start another game for the sake of adding to points to the rarity competition, because Dead Space isn't going to help me much there. There are a few rare trophies, but a lot of them are uncommon. So, and let's be real, if there is any game that's going to go down in rarity, it's going to be a game like Dead Space, because even the Impossible run isn't super rare. I think it's currently considered rare, but that's probably going to go down. So, but yeah. That's
down is in more rare, or down is in more common?
It's going to become more common.
Down
because it's decent. For a game where the Impossible run is essentially the hard mode, but you can't die once, because then it'll kick you down to hard and take you out of Impossible and nullify the trophy. Now there are workarounds around that, and even Rick has said that maybe I misinterpreted what he said, but you can die. It's just instead of going back to the main menu, you just press continue and you'll still get credit for the trophy, because Dupes went through and did it, he went through it once and then died and then had to start all over again. And it's like, no, dude, you can use cloud saving to keep that protected save file to pull it down from the cloud whenever you die. And then Rick was like, no, you can actually die. You just continue on through the story and you'll still get credit for it. I don't know if that's a glitch that they're going to patch out, so look into that before you decide to do your run. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, a PSA. That I wrote this on a thread that it was either Dupes or Rick had on Dead Space, but I think it was actually the Dupes submitting his Dead Space Platinum for not consideration, but for points for the backlog be down for. Be careful when you save, especially because on Impossible you have one save file, so if you fuck up that save file, you're kind of screwed unless you've got one up in the cloud. I was saving at a save station and didn't check around me, and a necromorph came up behind me and killed me. So I thought I had saved. I'd gone through the menu and it said saved. And immediately after that, I got out and a necromorph killed me. And every time I loaded that save file, it just went into an animation of me being killed by a necromorph. So if there's a necromorph around and it kills you while you're anywhere in the process of saving, it'll loop that from then on, and essentially that save file is borked, and you can't do anything. So
That sucks.
be very wary of that, and check your surroundings before you use the save station.
All right, and I've been playing some God of War Ragnarok. I tried to play Division 2, which
Man, still don't have the Ragnarok Platinum?
well, I'm playing on the PS4. I stopped playing the PS5 version for a while. I'm getting annoyed at the 2 boss battles, so I decided just to go through the game again.
So wait, you're annoyed with the 2 boss battles. You're just going to go through the game again to get back to those boss battles and be annoyed again?
No, I'm playing. Well, 1, I'm playing the game because I love the game. 2, I'm playing because. Sorry, it's 14-14 now. I'm playing again to get some rare trophies. So.
All right. Well, I mean, are you going to go back and clean up those 2 bosses to get the platinum, or?
Yeah, I'm hoping the old adage, like if you're getting, like, you're banging your head against a wall in the game, take some time off, come back, it's much easier. So.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that works. I mean, the 2 boss battles, I'm getting them down to the last level of health, but anybody knows that, like, when you get down there, it's like their attacks and their speed kicks up a notch. So it's like I'm getting them down, but just I can't get over that little hump.
So I got to ask, because if you're doing it, on a higher difficulty, I want to give you proper credit. What difficulty setting are you on?
Oh, I'm on the bottom.
Oh, so you gave me shit, and now you're
No. I don't give you shit because you play a game on the easiest difficulty. I give you shit.
Hold on. No. Do not say it like that. I did not play it on the easiest difficulty. I played it on normal. I just played those 2 boss battles on the easiest difficulty.
But that's not what I just said.
You said played the game on the easiest difficulty. I did not play the entire game on the easiest difficulty. I played it on normal.
Listen to my words there, sir. I said I do not give you shit for playing games on the easiest difficulty. I give you shit because the things that you have done in certain games, namely Shadow's Revenge, if I would have done, you would have given me total shit about it. And then when you try to justify it by saying, well, I'm not playing this game again, I think it was the Tournament Fighters, then to me, you cannot give me shit about not playing a game by just holding down a button when essentially what you did was you held down a button. I know you're not actually holding down a button to get through a game to do the last step. That's, in my book, is the same thing. If you're gonna get a trophy for watching somebody play a game, that to me is the same as me holding down the X button to get a platinum. That's what I give you shit about.
The Cowabunga collection, there's a lot more. Even if you just go through one of those games like that, there's 13 games in that collection, so there's a lot more effort that goes into that than playing a lot of the games that you play to get a platinum. But I will reiterate, I don't give you shit for playing those games. I give you shit for playing those games when you act like you're the cock of the walk. When you act like you're a total badass. That is when you act like you're superior to the rest of us. So that's when I give you crap for that. I've said before, if you want to play those type of games, that's the way you choose to spend your money. That's the way you choose to spend your time. I don't get to dictate that. I give you shit when you act like you're a total badass and you're better than everyone. That is when I give you shit for that.
I'd say I'm a total badass because I have the most trophies and the most platinums, which is what a trophy whore should be. You guys are trophy whores with standards. I'm a trophy whore with no standards. I just get trophies.
Yes, Tricky, I do not give you shit for playing spam games. Maybe jokingly a few times, but in all honesty, the only reason I give you shit for it seriously is when you act like you're better than me in Yield because you play these easy-ass games while we don't do that.
Yield, you want to chime in here?
No, that's why I give you so much crap is sometimes when you seem to get on that soapbox of I'm a better gamer than you guys, and it's like, whoa,
hold on a second. I'm gonna say this.
No, you've never said that, but that's the impression that you give when you get on the soapbox, and that's when we're like, okay, let's bring you down about 10 pegs.
Well, listen, if we are on a show called Trophy Whores.
Yes.
The name Trophy Whores gives the indication that we get a lot of trophies. That is what I'm doing. So if I'm giving off the impression I'm a better gamer, I'm giving off the impression because I have more platinums and more trophies than you guys. Not saying I'm qualified to be a better gamer is in the fact of, like, you know, I play harder games and stuff like that. I don't try to do that at all. But I will say that if I ever got the platinum in BioShock Infinite, or I ever get the platinum in Vanquish, both of you need to shut the hell up. And you both agree to.
Yeah, but also I have the BioShock Infinite Platinum, so I'll give you a pat on the back for joining the party.
Matt G says, every week Latin Legacy comes in to see the skill. I guess holding down a button for a plat counts as skill now. Yes, it does. Anyway. Getting back on topic
that's
here.
Skill and using, we talk about, time and value propositions when it comes to games, time spent versus money spent. That's tricky, being efficient when it comes to trophy hunting in his time. He's just trying to be ultra efficient.
Yes. When I'm editing a podcast or I'm watching a TV show, I hold down a button and get a platinum. All right. So, God of War Ragnarok. I tried to play Division 2, but we're going to get into that in the first topic. I did Assassin's Creed 4 with, was it 4 Yield?
Yeah, it was 4 Black Flag.
Yeah. With Yield, JT, and Nitro. And I play some Sonic Team Racing, which is where I got my uncommon trophy in. And played some Pinball Heroes. Pinball Heroes seems like a easy enough platinum, but it also seems like it's going to be a difficult platinum.
Yeah, you never know with like the pinball games because, quite frankly, there was a Star Wars pinball game for the Vita that I would assume would have been an easy platinum or like an easy to get trophies in, and it certainly was not. Like I only have like less than 5% of the trophies, and I look back at them, it's like, my God, why did I choose this path?
Well,
why did I do this to myself?
Okay, so the trophies for Pinball Heroes is basically like you get a trophy for playing each table, and then you get a trophy for getting the high score on each table. Doesn't seem like that hard. Then there's trophies for tilt the game during gameplay. Tilt 10 times during gameplay, which is not hard. You just hit the button. Hit both flippers simultaneously 50 times through all table play. That's going to come easily. Fully plunge ball 50 times. If you're playing for the high scores, you're going to get that. And the other one is bounce the ball on the flipper 5 times without flipping, which I don't know how I got, but I got. So, but like plunge the ball 50 times is a 25.4 on PSN profiles. So, anyway. But those are the games I've been playing. All right. So let's get into our first topic. Now, gentlemen, I normally don't put any Division 2 news in the agendas because you guys really don't care about Division 2. I mean, Yield, you said you'd play it, but you haven't gotten to it, so it doesn't really interest you that much.
And to be fair, they stopped supporting the game, right? There's no new content coming out.
No. There's still content coming out. That's part of our topic right now. Coming from IGN, and is written by Adam Bankhurst. A Division 2 fix accidentally made updates impossible. Division 2 development team has notified players that a recent update has caused an error that has now prevented the team from updating the game at all. The Division 2 development team took to Twitter to explain the unfortunate situation, saying it was caused when they were trying to deal with a localization issue, which I mentioned last week. While they were fixing that particular problem, another one popped up that, quote, brought down the build generation system for Division 2, end quote. This, in turn, broke the whole updating system. The tweet they put out says, Dear agents, last week, we shared news that the season would be delayed due to a localization issue. This past Saturday, in the process of creating the update which would resolve the issue, we encountered an error that brought the game build generation for Division 2. As a result, we can't update the game until the system has been rebuilt. So essentially, they're having to rebuild the game. In the past, when a season is delayed, the team had been able to extend activities from the previous season. However, they are unable to do this as they can once again make no updates to the game until the system is restored. Quote, we are working to resolve the situation as quickly as possible. We have made good progress over the last 96 hours and have been able to restore critical aspects of the system and will share a timeline for the resolution when available. We deeply appreciate your understanding and patience and will share our in-game compensation plans details soon. Now, this season 11, which was supposed to start on February 7th, which as of this recording was 5 days ago, now we don't know when it's going to come out. We're supposed to get another update on February 10th, which was 2 days ago. We did not get that update. But I bring this to you guys because, one, you guys know how I love The Division, so I kind of wanted to talk about this. And two, this is an Ubisoft game, so Ubisoft is having freaking problems right now. Now, I don't so much blame this problem on Ubisoft. I blame this on Massive because of whatever they did. They fucked up their game. But should we expect things like this where a game is long supported, 2-3 years after release, that stuff like this can happen, and that us as gamers are maybe too critical behind the scenes when we're not getting the updates when we expect? Yield, I'll start with you.
Updates when you should expect them. Well, yes and no. I mean, if they come out and say, "Hey, we're going to have it on this date," and they consistently don't, I would say, gamers have a right to complain. If it's like the first pushback or something, chill, it happens. So, I mean, it kind of just depends on the situation and how often do they do that, in my opinion.
All right, the reason I bring this up and the reason I've raised a question like that is because we've been giving Skull and Bones shit for like the 6 delays that it's had. But this is the first time a developer actually came out and said, hey, we broke the system. We have to fix this. I mean, I'm not saying Skull and Bones and Division 2 are linked other than they're both put out by Ubisoft. But, maybe we're being too hard on Skull and Bones because stuff like this happens. That's the premise of my question. Alex, I'll throw it to you.
No, we're not being hard enough on Skull and Bones or Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's look, if points for honesty, because if they come out and say, "Hey, we fucked something up," that is transparency and that is honesty and that is you eating the blame. I totally respect that. So we do owe them some patience when it comes to this, but we shouldn't just sit here and just accept blatant incompetency. Like, if they fix it, that's fantastic. But with stuff like long delayed games that are just comical at this point, no, I'm sorry, that's mismanaged of the project. We're talking millions and millions of dollars here that go into these projects, and has probably led to some of Ubisoft's very, very public problems. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, and we can go into all the money problems that are in the world, but just to sit here and be like, oh, we need to accept these issues because Ubisoft, they're just people. Yes, give people credit. Everyone makes mistakes. But when it comes to some of these projects that are just long running and are feeding into what's going on at Ubisoft now, no, it's just incompetency. And we deserve to call them out and hold them responsible for that. But as far as Massive, I would be more concerned. I don't know if I should say concerned, but my question more than anything regarding to this is, why is Massive still on Division 2? Are they big enough to split to a new game? Because with all the issues Ubisoft's having, putting Massive and keeping them on the Division 2, which you said is a game that's been out for years now and probably, let's be real, doesn't need any new content, why wouldn't you have Massive focus on a new game instead of focusing on the Division, unless they've only got a small team on the Division and they're working on something else on top of that? That's
exactly what it is, because at the end of... Okay, what I'm about to say is going to be a little confusing, but it's very easy to understand once I explain it. So, the Division came out with Seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? After 4 was supposed to be no more content from Massive on Division 2. They were fully moving on to the Star Wars game. They were moving on to the Avatar game. The community kept playing the game so much that they actually released Seasons 1 through 4 again and just renamed them 5 through 9. So we had a chunk of 4 seasons we played twice. So that brought us to... I'm sorry, 5 through 8, sorry. And then we had at the end 8. At the end of 8, they announced that they were making... So many people were still playing the game that they decided to take pieces from other studios that were working on Star Wars and Avatar, and they brought the small section back to work on the Division. So the system breaking is probably a result, and I don't know this for sure, it's probably a result of just having such a small team that somebody made a mistake somewhere, and the person that would have caught this mistake is already working on one of the other games.
But are they selling content to people?
Yes.
Are they making money off of the Division 2? Okay.
Yes, it costs $10 a season, and you get a whole bunch of perks with it. You get, they're still coming out with new weapons, new gear sets, new exotics. There's still stuff coming out for the game. But as season 10 was ending, they announced that season 11 was going to be delayed. Then they announced that season 11 was coming out February 7th. And then days before that, they said the update not going to come out because of the localization issue. And then a couple days after that, we actually can't update the game anymore. This is the transparency that they're coming out with now, saying we broke the system, so now we have to fix that before we can even update the game. So that's why when I asked, are we being too hard on Skull and Bones, was not necessarily saying like we're being too hard on a developer, but things like this happen in the background that they probably don't come out and tell us, hey, we fucked up this system, because they want us to have the confidence in it. But this is a game that's been out for a while. This is a game that's, had their community. It still has a community. Obviously, I'm part of it. But I think it's easier for them to come out and say, hey, we broke this game 3 years after we released it, rather than saying, hey, we broke this game before it's even on the market. That's why I say, are we being too hard on Skull and Bones? Because something like this could have happened with Skull and Bones, where now they have to go back and fix it. It's going to take a couple months. That's the only reason I phrased the question that way.
Yeah, but then again, that game has been delayed, twice in the last 6 months after having a release date. So, and it was up for pre-order at one point, and they've now taken it down. You can no longer pre-order that game. So,
and to be fair, I pre-ordered the deluxe edition of Saints Row, and when that game got delayed, they just, without me even asking, they refunded my money. They said, nope, we're taking the pre-orders off, and they refunded my money back to the PSN. So, I don't know. It's like, the three of us always said, delay the game if you need to delay the game. But, Skull and Bones, and for that matter, like Duke Nukem Forever, it became a laughingstock. Like, how many times are you going to delay this fucking game? How long has this game been in development? But we don't think about what they're not telling us. We only know what they are telling us. And sometimes they could only be telling us stuff to probably save face. And that's why I prefaced the question that way. Like, are we too hard on them because they're telling us something to save face, rather than, in this case, they're coming out and saying, yeah, we fucked up and it's going to be a while.
I mean, it gets to a point where, yeah, delay the game if you need to, because I don't want to play a crappy game. But with some games, like a Skull and Bones, you need to ask yourself, did you need to make this game? Should you have made this game? Or should you have just said, hey, this might be a good idea, but we don't have a full enough idea and we don't have the project management to handle it. There's just some things that when they're just perpetually delayed where it's like, you shouldn't have made this game.
Right. Matt G in the chat says there's a big difference between an unexpected patch issue versus a severe project mismanagement. So it seems like he's siding with you, Alex, on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Birds of a feather. That's Matt and I.
Yield, any follow thoughts before we move on?
None.
10-4. Next topic we have Take-Two CEO says GTA 6 leaks did not impact business, but were a quote an emotional matter, end quote. I think that's a little worded weird, but this is coming from
old Strauss Zelnick.
This is coming from IGN, written by Rebecca Valentine. It's been a tricky quarter for Grand Theft Auto publisher Take-Two Interactive. Its earnings today fell short of its guidance. The company's planning for cost reductions that may include modest layoffs in the workforce, and its potential biggest blockbuster on deck, Grand Theft Auto 6, suffered a massive leak late last year. On the final point, at least CEO Strauss Zelnick isn't concerned that the leaks might impact the business, but speaking to IGN ahead of Take-Two's earnings release, he called them an emotional matter and focused on the impact to developers working on the game. Quote, "We take leaks very seriously indeed, and they disappoint all of us. It's really frustrating and upsetting to the team. However, as a business matter, we're not affected, but as a personal matter and an emotional matter, our teams are affected," end quote. That said, the earnings suggest that Take-Two employees may be about to feel more of a tangible kind of business impact soon in the form of layoffs. Following a report of a $1.38 billion in net bookings for the quarter, falling short of its $1.41 billion guidance, Take-Two is preparing to undergo cost-cutting measures that its projects will roughly save $50 million per year. One of the areas Take-Two suggests it will impact is personnel. While I asked Zenick if this meant layoffs, he replied with, "That's not the plan," but caveated that while he doesn't expect large-scale layoffs, some jobs may be lost. So I don't know how this really feels like the leak falls into this, but I'll leave it up to you guys to see if you guys can connect the two. I think he's trying to imply that I don't even know, because I thought he was implying that the leak caused them to not make as much profit, but then he said it didn't affect business, but it's only an emotional matter. So I don't know. I don't. Alex, do you know what he's trying to say here?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to affect their business because no matter what, people are still going to buy the game. It's going to make them a ton of money. But I think that he was pointing to was the emotional impact on the people making the game, because you make a game, and I'm sure a lot of people, when they're in the process of making a game, they want to have these things be surprises. They want to surprise the gamers when they first put in a disc or download a code or whatever. Whenever they first crack open the game, they want it to be surprised. They want it to be a whole new experience. And if details come out about the game, well, that, sets expectations. It basically, breaks the surprise, kind of breaks the mystique. So there is something like that whole feeling you get on Christmas as a kid where you open up a present, you didn't know you were getting this because you're a kid and, you asked for it, but you weren't sure. There's maybe something to it where they want to keep as much as they can under wraps about the game because they want people to experience it fresh and new. A lot of people stay away from media and trailers about games because they just want to experience it when it comes out. So I think that's more what he was pointing to. With GTA, I mean, we've seen Grand Theft Auto come out on so many different consoles. I have to wonder if they it's a necessity for them to do that because each Grand Theft Auto takes so long to put out and it takes so much money in development. If they need to put out and need that extra money from Grand Theft Auto 5 on 3 or 4 different consoles because they need money in the meantime before, Grand Theft Auto comes out. Not that Grand Theft Auto 6 is the only game they have in the pipeline, but it's certainly a big one. And obviously, when it comes to how big that game is, they need the money to fund it. And, we're talking about layoffs here, regardless of how big or small they are, how many people they affect. So that's something I thought about when you were reading that is, man, we all joke and laugh about GTA and all these games, spanning multiple generations of consoles, but they probably need that in order to, get them through to the next GTA game, or at least make their, coffers as healthy as they can. Because they obviously don't have a GTA game for 10 or so years to, it's not like the PS2 ones where it came out, once every couple years. Now it's like you got to wait a decade for a new GTA game. So,
well, before I go to you, the last paragraph of this article says, elsewhere in the earnings report, Take-Two offered updates on unit sales for two of its biggest games, Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. GTA 5 has surpassed 175 million copies by selling roughly another 5 million in the last quarter, a feat it's achieved quarter after quarter for years now. It was also the third best-selling game in the United States in 2022 by unit sales and the second best-selling game on Steam last year. So GTA 5 is still kicking ass. Yield, I'll throw the floor to you, sir.
I don't know. I was kind of confused at what all he was saying.
No, he's saying they'll make the money still. It's just our team, mentally, it was a strain on them because the game they've been working on and keeping, so secret is now out there.
Right, but then...
but everybody, I guess I get that, but still everybody knew they were either working on another Red Dead or more than likely they were working on another Grand Theft because that's the two they bounce between. So, I don't know.
The reason I was confused is because he says it did not impact business, but it was an emotional matter. But then the next thing is, well, it didn't impact business, but we're going to have to lay off, do modest layoffs. So if it didn't affect business, then why are you doing layoffs?
It's a good question. Fair question.
That's where I got confused. All right, we're going to move on. I'm putting this in topic in for somebody in our text chat. I don't know who brought this up. Coming from the PlayStation blog and written by Dylan Cuthbert. PixelJunk Scrappers Deluxe punches into PlayStation this year. PixelJunk is back on PlayStation. Dylan Cuthbert, the founder of indie studio Q Games, and I'm delighted to share that our frantic party brawler, PixelJunk Scrappers Deluxe, is coming to PlayStation. The game will launch later this year on both PS5 and PS4, and we can't wait to share what we've been working on. PixelJunk Games recently celebrated their 15th anniversary, and we're excited to be returning to PixelJunk's spiritual home on PlayStation with a brand new entry in the series, and we have a trailer for it. I think it was Homer that was excited for this, right, Yield?
Yeah, he's the one that originally posted in there about it.
I never got into the PixelJunk games, but I'll leave the floor to you guys. I don't know if any of you guys played the PixelJunk games.
Monster was fun. I kind of enjoyed it as kind of a pass the controller game as we were playing at friend's house. I got into PixelJunk Shooter. Thoroughly enjoyed that game. So that's kind of my extent of PixelJunk games.
All right, Alex?
Oh, well, I was quite a fan of the PixelJunk stuff. Eden, kind of. I did enjoy Eden, but also it required, because there was like a tether involved and you were moving from, you were trying to build up these gardens and you were moving from, different vegetation to different vegetation. You had to use like a little tether to kind of, be a little bit more acrobatic. Sometimes that got a little frustrating for me. So I didn't like that game as much as I enjoyed Shooter and Side Scroller. Shooter 1 and 2, there were 2 of them, and then Side Scroller, but all 3 of them, I love those games. I think 100% all of them as far as trophies go. Eden, I'm nowhere close to 100%. Monsters, I'm even further. Tower defense is okay. I like Plants vs. Zombies, but the kind of tower defense for monsters, like, great aesthetic. It's just, I was so frustrated with that game that I have very, below 10%, and I don't ever see myself going back to play those games because I didn't enjoy them. Or I didn't enjoy PixelJunk Monsters. So most of their games, I really enjoyed. 3 of them I absolutely loved. So PixelJunk Scrappers, I haven't watched the trailer, but there's if it's a brawler, there's a heavy chance that I'm gonna love the shit out of this game.
All right. Let's move on to our next topic, which is PlayStation Store 2023 top downloads. I thought this was pretty interesting because I normally skip over these topics, but there's a top 20 list. I got one for US and Canada and one for the EU for the PS4 and the PS5 games. We're not going to talk about
this. Is this the first month of 2023 or 2022? Sorry, I didn't hear.
I think it's 23 this year.
Okay, so it's so far.
Well, last month, yes. It's
okay, gotcha.
Top sales of January 2023. We're not going to talk about the VR games. We're not going to talk about the free-to-play games. But I'm going to try to go through this as quick as possible. Your top PS4 games from the EU, starting from the bottom. And I'm just going to go through this list. If you guys want to talk about a game or surprised this is on the list, stop me. We'll have a conversation. If not, I'm just going to keep going. So top PS4 games in the EU. Top 20 games for the PS4 in the EU. 20, Goat Simulator. 19, Assetto Corsa. 18, Among Us. 17, Ark Survival Evolved. 16, Monopoly Plus. 15, The Last of Us Remastered. 14, God of War 2018. 13, EA UFC 4. 12, NBA 2K23. 11, Need for Speed Heat. 10, Gang Beast. 9, Need for Speed Payback. 8, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. 7, The Last of Us Part 2. 6, Red Dead Redemption 2. 5, A Way Out. 4, Grand Theft Auto 5. 3, The Forest. 2, Minecraft. And number 1, FIFA 23. Does any of that surprise any of you guys?
No, God of War, we talked about last week, has reached over 11 million in sales. 5 of those came in the first, few days or first week or something. So a bulk of the God of War sales have already passed by. We've got a DLC coming out, Burning Shores for Horizon Forbidden West, but still that game is, a year old now, so you wouldn't expect that to be on the list here. Honestly, I guess I mean, you got big games like FIFA. I mean, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption. We just talked about them when we talked about Take-Two, Call of Duty, obviously. You did see like Need for Speed Heat, and then there were a few others. There were PlayStation Plus games. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that more PlayStation Plus games weren't on that list because you heard some, but not as many as I thought there would be.
All right, Yield.
There were some weird games on there, but yet most downloaded. That doesn't overly surprise me because I never really agree with the games that they say are the most downloaded games. I mean, God of War, that makes sense, but yeah.
It's God of War from 2018.
And I got to say, I'm not surprised that FIFA topped the list in the EU.
Well, I mean, the older God of War, I mean, maybe people had, before they play Ragnarok, they want to go back and play God of War 2018. That kind of makes sense. But The Last of Us Part 2, that game is a few years old at this point, and because it came out the same year as Ghost of Tsushima. And it kind of surprises me that it showed up on this list. If only, I mean, it kind of ties in maybe with the release of the show on HBO, which, by the way, episode 4 was another really good episode. But maybe that's why people are going to play The Last of Us Part 2 before season 2. I mean, we've got a long time probably before season 2 because we're halfway through season 1. But that's the only reason I could think that game would be in the top downloads.
All right, top 20 from the United States on the PS4 and United States and Canada. 20, Ark Survival Evolved. 19, God of War Ragnarok. 18, Persona 4 Golden. 17, The Hunter Call of the Wild. 16, A Way Out. 15, God of War 2018. 14, Need for Speed Heat. 13, The Last of Us Remastered. 12, UFC 4. 11, Madden 23. 10, Need for Speed Payback. 9, Gang Beast. 8, NBA 2K23. 7, The Last of Us Part 2. 6, Grand Theft Auto 5. 5, FIFA 23. 4, The Forest. 3, Red Dead Redemption 2. 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And number 1, Minecraft.
People love Minecraft. I mean, that's a prime example of why Microsoft has never taken it off other consoles because they own it, but I'm sure they make plenty of money off the other consoles for selling it. So,
all right, the top 20 PS5 games from the EU. Number 20, Gran Turismo 7. 19, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. 18, Cyberpunk 2077. 17, Kenya Bridge of Spirits. 16, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. 15, One Piece Odyssey. 14, It Takes Two. 13, God of War Ragnarok. 12, Rainbow Six Siege. 11, Among Us. 10, The Last of Us Part 1. 9, Elden Ring. 8, NBA 2K23. 7, Need for Speed Unbound. 6, Monster Hunter Rise. 5, Forspoken. 4, Dead Space. 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. 2, FIFA 23. And number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5. Yield, I'll throw it to you.
It's just easy money for them at this point.
Yield, what about you, sir? Anything?
No.
All right. Top 20 in the United States and Canada on the PS5.
I will be interested to see if FIFA is as popular here because obviously, there's different markets, the EU and the United States. So I don't expect to see FIFA as high on the list. But, who knows? Maybe.
20, Gran Turismo 7. 19, Among Us. 18, Mortal Kombat 11. 17, One Piece Odyssey. 16, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. 15, Miles Morales. 14, Rainbow Six Siege. 13, Ghost of Tsushima. 12, Elden Ring. 11, Need for Speed Unbound. 10, God of War Ragnarok. 9, Monster Hunter Rise. 8, The Last of Us Part 1. 7, Forspoken. 6, Madden 23. 5, FIFA 23. 4, NBA 2K23. 3, Modern Warfare 2. 2, Dead Space. And number 1, Grand Theft Auto 5.
I don't care about Grand Theft Auto, but Dead Space overtook Call of Duty in the U.S. Good job, everybody. Good job getting that up there. Love to see that.
Yield, you kind of chuckled.
God, really, Grand Theft Auto again.
It made the top 20 on all 4 lists.
I don't understand how there's still people that want to play that game. Like, how have you? I mean, I guess if you had the PS4 version and you want the PS5 version, that makes sense. But man, how many people? I don't understand how there are people left to buy that game. Also, could you read the top 6 again? Because there was another point that I was. Maybe it was that, we talked about NBA 2K23 or whatever. You mentioned one of the NBA 2K games.
Number 4.
As much as we talk about how we kind of laugh at the sports games and how we don't like them, it just goes to show you that they make a lot of money and they're very popular. So
yeah, they 4, 5, and 6 are all sports games. NBA 2K23 was 4, FIFA was 5, and Madden was 6.
Still couldn't beat Dead Space. Good job, EA Motive.
All right.
Also, it's nice to see Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is still on these lists. Even after, a few years, it's still up there. Ghost of Tsushima also got a nod as well. So.
Miles Morales got a nod. Mortal Kombat 11 got a nod.
Forspoken. I saw that game kind of bomb. Well, I don't know if I want to say bomb, but it definitely was like not a critical success. It was more middling than anything. But I guess it's good to see that with how much hype Sony and Square Enix put behind that game, that it at least sold something.
I'd be interested to see if Hogwarts beats Grand Theft Auto next month. Matt G said,
I don't think it will, but it will obviously dethrone Dead Space. It'll be at least number 2, I would think, because Ashley bought it, and granted, my girlfriend and one of the guys that I work with are not perfect barometers for gaming interest, but he was a guy who was kind of interested, but then he saw it, a buddy play it, and he was like, "Oh, I got to buy that. I got to play that." His girlfriend's playing it, so it's gotten really good review scores. So I have a feeling that
it depends on where you look.
Oh yeah, I saw Metacritic and I thought it was like an 86 or something.
Okay. Hold on. Before we get into that, Matt G says, "I'll take Monster Hunter in the top 10 as a win." The only reason I say it depends on where you look on Hogwarts is because it is getting good scores, but there's a lot of I don't want to use the word controversy because there's already enough controversy around the game, but there are a lot of people out there saying that if you read the reviews, the game should not have gotten the score that it did because there's a lot of criticism over the repetitive enemies. There's a lot of criticism for like the story not being that well, and some other things. And there's a lot of people saying that the only reason it's scoring so high is not because the game's good, it's because it's in the Harry Potter universe, and they're scoring it high because it's in the Harry Potter universe, not that the game is actually good. I don't know.
Right, well,
I bought it for Sweet Mama D. She's playing it. She loves it, but I'm just telling you what I've seen, what the, behind the scenes of what I'm seeing.
Well, to be fair, being able to, being in that universe, like you said, and going to Hogwarts and being inside Hogwarts and going through the sorting hat process. And, Ashley sent me pictures or video of she was sorted as a Hufflepuff, which was what she's in real life. And she sent me a picture of the Hufflepuff meeting area. And it seems like the game looks great. It seems like all the Harry Potter touches are really well done. So it may very well be that there are some rose-tinted glasses on this one because people love Harry Potter so much. But, Ashley played it for 7 hours yesterday, and she played it more today. So, it's one of those games that's caught her attention. I don't think I've seen really since, Stray. She's played a few other games in between then, Oxenfree and a few other things. But really, since Stray, which she played to completion, nothing's really caught her attention as well as Hogwarts Legacy. So maybe it is fun to play, or maybe they're giving too much credit for the sake of being Harry Potter. But I think you can bring up, for instance, I would have had a good number of quibbles with Guardians of the Galaxy because I feel like there were areas, there's a good base there, good foundation, but they could have made significant improvements to make the game overall better. But you have another game like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, which is a more polished game and darn near perfect as you can get for a Spider-Man game. But I would recommend Guardians of the Galaxy over Spider-Man because it's just a more fun game. I don't know. I don't necessarily think that the list, if you have a list of negatives that are certain length that you have to attach a certain score to that, it should match to some degree. But when you're looking at the overall fun factor of the game and how well a game plays, even if you point out some things like repetitive enemies, in the end, that may not be enough to take down the score all that much. So without having read a review score, I can't say, but I don't know. Maybe it does deserve those reviews. It's just there's a lot of nitpicks. They're just smaller issues.
All right. We are going to skip over the last topic because I don't think I really want to talk about it. I don't think you guys really want to talk about it either. Would you say yield?
No.
No, you don't want to talk about it? No, you don't want me to skip it?
Correct. No, okay. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. All right, so at this time, we're going to throw it across the pond. We have a Sophie Surface this week, so sit back and enjoy.
Hello, my friends. It's Sid, back once again to fill your airwaves with meandering waffle. I hope you guys are all okay. Sorry it's been a while, guys. We've had a house full of illness, but I think we're all over it now, so we can get on with it and hopefully just enjoy the rest of the year without everybody being sick. So, that may have been a bit too much information, but there you go. Okay, so speaking of illness and decay and sickness, we're going to do Dead Space, guys. I was going to do Batman Arkham
Dead
Asylum,
Space.
but I tried recording that 3 times. And there is so much explanation for some of those trophies, guys, that it was taking ages and ages and ages. So I may do it, but I may split it into 2. So, there are 48 trophies in Dead Space, or Dead Space Remake. Some are the same, a few are different, but they are all towards the platinum. So, let's get into it, guys. The first one we have is Concordance Officer, and that is your platinum. And then we have Welcome Aboard, Lab Rat, All Systems Go, Cannon Fodder, True Believer, Greenhouse Effect, SOS, Strange Transmissions, Wreckage, Keeper of the Faith, Betrayed, and Exodus. Now those are all your chapter trophies, so complete the game, chapter 1 to 12. Then we have Final Regeneration, Discover the Hunter's Origins. This one, guys, the Hunter is a necromorph that can run around and regrow its limbs when you chop them off. So whenever you're fighting it, guys, just stasis it once you chop the limbs off. Then we have Whole Again, pursue Nicole's investigation. So she is Isaac's girlfriend. Isaac is your character, by the way, and you have to figure out what she found out. I'm being vague. Set a benchmark. Complete the game on medium difficulty or above. Untouchable. Complete the game in impossible mode. Now this one, guys, if you played Dead Space 2, you had hard to the core. That was the name of the trophy, and that was complete the game on hardcore mode, which you had 3 saves. You could save anywhere you want, but if you died, you would go back to your last save. So you had to be judicious where you saved. This one, on the other hand, guys, is you can save wherever the hell you like. There is a catch. The game is on hard, and if you die, it will wipe your save and you have to start again. So, quick tip for this one, guys, if you want to do this, make use of your PS Plus save feature. Disable the auto update for Dead Space, and every time you save, just auto upload it yourself, and then if you die, download it. Okay, Trusted Contractor, complete New Game Plus. So New Game Plus, you have all your weapons and armour. There are some changes which I will get into in a bit. Full Arsenal, own every weapon in the game. Built to order, install every weapon upgrade. Now these you have to find, so as you go around the levels, just look around and you will find them. So Auto Fire, kill 30 enemies with the pulse rifle. Live with the Hot Ones, kill 30 enemies with the flamethrower. A Cut Above, kill 30 enemies with the Ripper. Pusher, kill 30 enemies with the Force Gun. Eviscerator, kill 30 enemies with the Line Gun. Then we have Full Contact, kill 30 enemies with the Contact Beam. And then we have One Gun, beat the game using only the Plasma Cutter, which is the first weapon in the game, and to be honest, it is probably the best weapon in the game. Pack Rat, place 25 items in storage. So, you all know what that means, guys. Storyteller, collect 75 logs. Legend Teller, collect 150 logs. Merchant, collect all schematics. Now, the schematics you find as you wander around the game, they will be in locked rooms and things like that. So you're going to have to get near the end of the game, I think, to be able to find all these things. Marksman, dismember 50 limbs. Surgeon, dismember 500 limbs. So if you don't know about Dead Space, the necromorphs, you have to dismember them, chop off their arms and the legs to actually kill them. So you've got to do that 500 times to get those 2 trophies. Wishbone, rip off a dangling limb using kinesis. So this one, if you shoot a limb and it doesn't come off, which it does on some enemies, sometimes, I think it's an RNG thing, guys, and then use your kinesis to pull it off, you will earn the Wishbone trophy. Raise the stakes, pin an enemy. So if you throw a sharp thing using your kinesis, so you pick something up with it and then throw it at an enemy, you can pin them to walls. Then we have freeze. Use stasis on 50 enemies. So again, guys, your stasis, opposite to kinesis, it will slow enemies down. Then we have backbreaker. Kill 10 enemies with a stomp attack. Maxed out. Fully upgrade all weapons and equipment. You cannot do this in one playthrough. You are going to need a couple of playthroughs for this. So one game and then New Game Plus. Front toward enemy. Sorry guys. Survive the shooting gallery. And then we have a hidden trophy here, guys, because I've not actually done all these yet, but I will do. Complete level 6 in 0G basketball. So in this game, guys, you've got 4 holes in the wall and a basketball will drop down in 0 gravity and you have to throw it through the holes and earn points. And each level you need to earn higher points, so you've got to get through level 6. There's always Peng. Find the Peng treasure. This is hidden. I will give you a clue, guys. It is near the end of the game. Then we have create the master security override. So you will see doors in the game, level 1, level 2 and level 3. You need to get these overrides as you go through the story, but the master security override, you have to unlock it by completing a side quest, which is new to Dead Space. Brute force, kill a brute. Exterminator, kill the Leviathan. Get off my ship, kill the Leviathan remnant. Mindless prey, kill the hive mind, which is the last boss. This one, marked. Pick up a marker fragment for the first time. So, when you do New Game Plus, guys, you will have markers that are there, little statues that you have to find. There are 12 in total, and you can only find them in New Game Plus, and they will help with this trophy called Reunion, which is see the alternative ending on any difficulty. So, you know, you can only do that on New Game Plus. So complete the game, find all those, and then you will get the hidden ending. And that, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, is Dead Space. Hope that was alright, guys. Maybe I've helped you out with a couple of things, maybe not, I don't know. But, you know what? It is such a good game, well worth playing. I do prefer Dead Space 2 though, so here's hoping they do that or a version of it. But that's going to be it from me, guys. I will talk to you again soon. Keep getting those trophies. Bye.
Tricky, do you mind if I add some comments to Sid's?
I was actually going to throw it to you, but first I just want to say thank you, Sid, and it's good to hear from you, sir.
Yeah, fantastic work, Sid. We missed you, sir. But yeah, I mean, he did a great job there. Heads up, you cannot play Impossible on New Game Plus, which is kind of annoying because, like, I'm going to go through the game twice and build up all this stuff, and yet Impossible's like, hey, you can't die once, and you're not going to let me use all my stuff. Kind of annoying, but I get it. But on Impossible, you have to start fresh from the beginning. 0G basketball, I hint for that because I was having trouble getting the trophy on that, getting all the way past level 6. There are going to be sometimes the little rings. There'll be 4 little rings. Like he said, they're color coded. There's a yellow, a green, a red, and a blue. When they are glowing, when that one specific one is lit up, if you throw the ball in there, it's 10 points. Normally, I think it's just 5, but you get double the points for the glowing ones. So that will help significantly in getting that trophy. And then Wishbone, that was actually on my first playthrough, and I got like 41 of the 48 trophies on my first playthrough. It was the most annoying one I actually got it in the final boss fight, but one of the tips that they say to use is to use the force gun up close against an enemy to get them kind of down to bare bones, because the technology they use in this game, it's not just about the dismemberment. It will like peel layers of like skin and stuff off of the necromorphs, so you can visually see when they're closer to being able to like have limbs knocked off. You basically use the force gun up close, and then you try to pick off, a limb using kinesis. If it doesn't work, then you maybe use the plasma cutter on them. But I did run into the issue where I had, powered up the plasma cutter so much that after I used the force gun, like I would do one more time and the plasma cutter would knock the limb off. So beware of that. The wishbone platinum, or not the platinum, the wishbone trophy can be a bit of an annoyance. And there is one missable schematic, because like I said, you can go back and traverse through any area of the ship again to find all the stuff. Chapter 9, you go outside the ship to another location. There is a schematic on that location that is missable. You cannot go back to it. So if you're, going through on your second playthrough trying to get all the schematics, do not miss that one, because you'll have to play all over again. So just some tips.
All right. Before we go into our social media, I incurred I was at work this morning, and I was working at an apartment. My partner got something that I found kind of weird at the deli, but you guys say that I have weird food choices. So he ordered a cinnamon raisin bagel toasted with butter, which is fine with me. But then he added grape jelly to it. How does that fall in your palates, sir?
I'd try it.
Yeah, it's not super weird. It's not like the flavors are super conflicting. I will say that one of my exes liked to have grape jelly on McDonald's hash browns, so I've heard weirder.
Like, I'm good with the butter toasted cinnamon raisin bagel. I just never thought about combining butter with jelly. And I know people do that on, like, pancakes and waffles, but, I don't know, it just seemed weird to me. He's going to listen to this, because I told him I was bringing this up on the show.
No, I think it's fine. I mean, I think it all works together, the butter and, because, my grandmother, towards the end of her life, she was, they were just kind of feeding her stuff to get calories into her. And one of the things they would feed her was honey and butter sandwiches. So there's kind of, mixing the butter with a sweet
honey
item.
And butter?
Honey and butter sandwiches, yes. So it doesn't seem super weird to me.
Okay. All right, so at this time, we are going to go to our listeners' questions.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
All right, so we only have one question, and it's coming from V. But before we do this, I'm just going to give a twerp to Nitro, who decided to troll. But I was trolling first, but it's my show, so I can twerp him. V1,
I twerp you, Tricky Mick, for Nitro, since Nitro can't say it here. Twerp you, Tricky Mick.
So V wants to know if the Eagles win the Stupid Bowl, and I say Stupid Bowl because legally I'm not allowed to say the real name because I can get sued, will she be allowed back on the show? I said no.
But I don't care what happens in the Super Bowl. She is welcome on the show anytime.
Don't say that word.
What word?
We're not allowed to say
the big game.
Yeah, we're not allowed to say the actual name. The NFL, they copyright that and they go after people.
People say superb owl to try to get around it. I'm sorry, it's so stupid. Like, I'm not trying to make money off the name of that game. So the NFL, the No Fun League, they can go piss up a rope. But the big game, the Eagles and the Chiefs. I'm sorry, the NFL.
I think it's absolutely stupid that they don't want people saying the name. They don't even let ESPN say the name. That's weird to me.
Yeah, it's real dumb. I guess I'll take that out of the show so Tricky Mick doesn't wet his jockeys, but
I just call it the Stupid Bowl. Yield, will you let V on the show if the Eagles win?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I made a joke. My thing. I say I said your comment has been removed due to a community guidelines violation, and then because it's weird because I can hide the comment, but she can still see it and her friends can still see it, but that makes no sense because basically like all her friends. So like, what's the point of hiding the comment? So I took a picture and showed it was hidden, but then Nitro started saying, "Oh, I could see it." I was like, no, because I deleted it. He goes, and I said, I'm not going to debate this. And then his final statement was, because I'm right. So, twerp you, Nitro.
Twerp you, Tricky Mick.
All right. So, that's our community questions. Now, we're going to go into our topic of the week. And because we are a trophy show, for the most part, this article is coming from PlayStationLifestyle.net and is written by Nick Tan. The Hogwarts Legacy Platinum forces you to start over 4 times. The Platinum Trophy will be one of the laborious trophies to earn, as it will require players to start the game 4 times. As Harry Potter fans might expect, this boils down to having to play the game at least once as a member of each of the 4 houses in Hogwarts. Luckily, you won't have to beat the game 4 times all the way through. Instead, you just need to reach a certain point in the main quest to mark off the related trophy. So, I asked this, you go read the article, but I asked this because we are trophy hunters, and we sometimes complain about certain trophies and whatnot. As you guys remember, I don't think either one of you guys have done it. I think only Donnie has done it. The Metal Gear 4 Platinum required you to play the game 8 times all the way through. How do you guys fall on games that require you to basically play the games multiple times? And I'm not talking like a new game plus. I'm talking like start over because you have to get to this point, but it, the past deviates so much that you can't get it. You can't get all the trophies on one playthrough. It's not like going back and getting collectibles.
So, I mean, you mentioned New Game Plus, and like Sid said, in the New Game Plus, one of the things they add are the marker fragments, and if you collect 12 of those, one in each chapter. Funny how that works out. You get to see an alternate ending to the game after you beat the game. So there's a purpose, and being able to power up all the weapons and just being able to go through, once you have all the powered up weapons and you can play at different difficulty, like just have fun going through the game and not have to worry so much about the next course. Just plow through them. So some games, some games can be kind of annoying to go through on a second time if you don't feel there's enough substance there. But with Dead Space, like I definitely feel like there's enough substance to go through a second time. With this particular example, it annoys me because the sorting process and being attached to one house is kind of a special thing within Harry Potter. People, even before this game, they would go to, Pottermore or whatever. They would figure out which house they were based on their personality and their traits, just like the characters in the Harry Potter universe would. So it's something special. So to make them everyone go through to a certain point to be a part of each house to do these missions, I kind of get it. But also, if you just went through once as part of your house, like that's a very special, unique experience. For people. I mean, granted, if you're Hufflepuff, you're going to go through the same mission, so it's not going to be unique to every person, but it's more unique and special than I would think of, okay, well, I'm really Hufflepuff, but now I have to go to all these other houses just because to do a trophy. I have a particular problem with that in this game, not necessarily the playthroughs, but the associated responsibility of trying to be a member of each house when really the whole goal of Harry Potter is to figure out which house you are and just be part of that house.
Yield?
So when you start over, you're starting completely over, like nothing carries over.
That I haven't played the game, so I can't fully say that, but that would be my thought process.
And how far into the game before it pops?
I can look in the article, but I don't think it says. To grab the platinum, you'll need to complete the quest map chamber, which is the 18th mission in the main quest line.
I mean, I don't know. As long as it's not incredibly annoying, I mean, it's just, if you want the platinum, it's just what you got to do.
Hold on, don't want to cut you off. More information. I didn't read the whole article. It says it might sound like a lot, but the quest is actually early enough in the game that trophy hunters only need to play about 2 hours to reach that point if they skip all the dialogue and cutscenes. So
that's not bad, because once you've played it once or twice, you know what's coming, so you can just skip it.
Okay, so you're talking, you got to complete the main game, and then you got to put another 6 hours into it, going through 2 hours each house, so to speak.
Yeah, see, that doesn't seem bad.
Okay. Okay, I'm just looking for anything. Alex, I kind of got distracted. I don't know if you mentioned this, but there's actually there's certain side quests that you could only do if you're a member of the house. And I know that Hufflepuff, there is one particular mission that is not accessible in any of their houses. I don't remember what the mission was.
Yeah, I just don't understand, like, if you're a Harry Potter fan and you are a part of a certain house, why would you want to be sorted into another house and then have to go through the missions in that house? Like, if it's me, I would just want to play through as a Hufflepuff. That's what I've been classified in the past, and I think it's accurate. I would just want to play through as a Hufflepuff. I don't want to go to Gryffindor and then to Slytherin and to Ravenclaw to do those. I'm not any of those houses. I'm Hufflepuff, so that's my annoyance. Is not necessarily the extra time, although I do think sometimes, game companies make us spend stupid amounts of time trying to get trophies, which is partly our fault as well, because we don't have to get them. But in this instance, it's more, I'm not part of those houses. Why do I have to do this tedious work again just to get the trophies? That's my thing.
Yeah. And just for verification, there's 57 side quests in the game. I don't know how many main quests. Okay. I don't mind replaying the game because I think with Miles Morales, you had to beat the game and then you had to beat it on New Game Plus. So you had to complete the game twice. I don't so much mind that if it's a New Game Plus, because at least the second time you're not so much struggling to get the stuff because you're already overpowered, so you can kind of run through it quickly. And it's always fun to run through a game as a badass, like one shot and everything. I don't know. I think it's a little too much if you get past 2 or 3 times of having to play a game to get a platinum. Matt G says in the chat, or if you don't play games for trophies, stuff like this doesn't matter.
True.
That is the that is the Grinelli argument right there. Yes.
And he also said nobody believed me when I said I hid the comment, but I showed the picture, so it was hidden. Anyway, all right. So I guess that wasn't a long conversation I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a little bit more conversation piece with that. All right, so let's close out the show and do our shout-outs. Yield, we'll start with you, sir.
So, shout out to Alex and Tricky for recording tonight. Shout out to Alex and Nitro for Rocket League. Nitro, JT, and Tricky for the AC4 multiplayer boost. Prepare to Die or Scum, Homer Get Stuffed, and the Brain 76 for Diablo 3. Shout out to Nitro and Matt and Skins for hanging out and Twitch chat. And shout out to all the other pimps and mountains of the Whoredom for hanging out with us, interacting, listening to the show, all that good stuff. That's it. Oh, and shout out to Gareth for putting together the Rarity Contest. You're doing an awesome job, sir.
Yeah, speaking of the Rarity Contest, we're going to stay tuned after the outro song. That's where I'm going to have Alex patch that in. And I might be in trouble because V just entered the Twitch chat, so she might just heard me talking shit.
Don't say you're going to patch, because we'll patch it in earlier in the show. We're not going to wait till the end because Gareth did a lot of work. Just I'll add something in closer to where it normally is in the show. Okay, well, then you have to take this part of the show. This out of the show. I mean, because otherwise it can be a little confusing. All right, Alex, your shout out, sir. Give a shout out to the community, the fans, the fuel to the fire that is Trophy Whores, the fantastic people like Matt and Veronica, like Skins, all the fantastic people, Lad Legacy, who always comes to see the skill, and of course all our patrons. Tricky, I'm assuming you have a list there that you'll read off, but you people are fantastic, and we couldn't do this without you, or we really wouldn't want to do this without you all. Big shout out to Gareth for the Trophy Rarity competition and the continued updates for that, and it's good to hear Sid's voice again, so big shout out to Sid for a fantastic job with the Sophie's Trophy for Dead Space. Last but not least, I guess I'll give credit to you guys too. Give a shout out to Tricky and to Yield. Tricky, thank you, sir, for the extra money that even though it's preemptive gift for this year, thanks for the extra cash so that I can go get premium for 2 years instead of just one. We'll see if this is really worth it. And last but not least, give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend Ashley, who is really excited about Hogwarts. So yeah, love you, honey, and that'll be it.
All right, our Patreons are Rob Stevens, Matt G, Andrew, Gareth, Daryl, Curtis, Redbeard, Rick, Nitro, and Felicia. Thank you very much for being Patreons. Stay tuned because we're going to be making a Patreon announcement soon about how you guys can get free stuff. I just got to work out the details. Shout out to Alex and Yield for recording on Super Bowl Sunday. I honestly did not think we were recording this week. I thought one of them was going to want to watch the game and we were going to have a show. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to Sweet Mama D. Shout out to the Goddess. And that's it. Twerp you, V, and twerp you, Nitro. We're not allowed to talk Eagles on this show.
Twerp you, Tricky Mick, and twerp you again for those two people.
No. V keeps talking about the Eagles. I might have to institute a spider ban. And Yield knows all about those spider bans.
Spider-Man.
I mean, I'm on the show, so
Spider-Man.
You do get over it.
Yeah, you did. Homer was on the show last year, so you did get over it.
Well, Homer was never banned for that. Homer was banned for something else. I just don't remember what it was.
And first of all, you're the one bringing up spiders. No one else is bringing up spiders.
No, I said spider ban.
Oh, I bet they're big spiders in Hogwarts Legacy.
They are. That's why I'm not playing the game.
That's why you have sequestered Sweet Mama D into another room to play it.
I literally, as they were playing it, as she was playing it in my studio, I was in the living room playing Assassin's Creed with Yield just to distract me. So, all right. If there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
See ya.
Later.